Oh, welcome. It's the man got a dots, man. And we are back. Sorry for the delay. There was something going on with StreamYard. I've never seen that message before from StreamYard. They said it was a lot of high traffic. I guess everybody on YouTube, they got a channel was going live or something. I don't know, but we here, man. We are here. Hope everybody is having a good day. Hope you are having a good week. Just a bit of a housekeeping before we kind of get into tonight's show. I will be doing a live tomorrow over here. Will be a Freestyle Friday show. Found me a little bit of material to use, so we'll be doing a show over here. Will be probably a maybe 7:30, 8 o'clock start time. And of course, I'll be over in the other space as of right now. As of right now, I will be over in the other space doing a show over there. But yeah, we will be doing a show over here tomorrow. It will be a Freestyle Friday show. So make sure you tune in, lock in, come in, comment, and join in on the show. And I think that's about all the housekeeping I got. How you doing, Miss Murph, Dr. Nikki, Spider? What's going on? Gator Girl? Yeah, StreamYard was kind of acting up, but hey, man, we here. We here. Getting to some NBA talk. We'll be talking a little bit about the NFL tomorrow. We'll be real centered around the NFL. Some things I've kind of seen, kind of came across my table. So we will be doing a show on that tomorrow. But we're going to talk about the NBA. If you watched last night's game, Boston went ahead and closed out Cleveland. It was pretty much a done deal when I found out Donovan Mitchell was not playing in Game 5. Boston did what they were supposed to do against a undermanned team as it is. Even if they was fully healthy, wasn't on the same level of talent as them, and took care of business last night. Boston moves on to the Eastern Conference Finals. Boston does have home court throughout the playoffs, so game 1 will be in Boston. Not sure when that is, because we're going to talk about the Knicks Pacers series and how that's kind of going. But to talk about this Boston and Cleveland series, it was what it was. I thought it might go 6. I thought Boston would give them 2 games. They gave them 1. Should have been a sweep, and be honest with you, completely honest with you. But I think Cleveland. We'll talk more about Cleveland tonight instead of Boston. We'll have time to talk about Boston as they continue in the playoffs. Talk about Cleveland. Donovan Mitchell does have a player option. The question is, will he be back? There's talks if Bickerstaff, the head coach, will he be back? Personally, I think Bickerstaff has done a good job in his time there. They've gotten better each year. Their playoff runs have gotten better each year he's been there. The question I would have for the Cleveland Cavaliers organization is, what do you do with Donovan Mitchell? Do you see Donovan Mitchell as a franchise player? And as much as I like Spider Mitchell, as much as I like his game, he's not going to lead you no further than past the first round of the playoffs. He's not a guy that is built to carry a team through deep playoff runs. I think Spider Mitchell will be a good number 2 option on a championship team. I do like the pieces that they have in Cleveland. I like Garland. I like Mobley. I like Jared Allen. I like some of the bench pieces that they have. They have a nice squad. I think Cleveland should really be aggressive this upcoming offseason of trying to add. If you're not going to add a franchise player, a KD or a LeBron type player this offseason, but I think Cleveland really needs to look at bringing a guy and probably a wing player, a guy who can go out and get his own shot, and it's not going to be so dependent on Spider Mitchell and Garland creating the offense for him. I think if you watch this Boston series, when Spider wasn't out there, you saw that Cleveland at times struggled to have a very consistent offense, especially in the second half after Boston made their adjustments. You can look no further than Game 5 is the most recent example of that. Boston was able to, make adjustments at halftime, and Cleveland just was not able to. I think Cleveland would be better to get a wing player, a guy that can get their own shot. I'm gonna go out on a limb here. If I'm Cleveland, I'm actively pursuing and really going after a guy like PG. I think you put Paul George On this Cleveland team. He's a guy that can go get his own shot. Doesn't depend on other guys to get shots for him. I think you put PG on this roster, you might have something in Cleveland. You might have something in Cleveland because if you add PG to that starting five and you keep Spider Mitchell, he opts into his player option, stays long term, get the extension. You have the makings of a team that could compete in the Eastern Conference. I think PG kind of would level the playing field a little bit against the teams such as a Boston, teams like Milwaukee, teams like Philadelphia. I think PG is going to be a very sought after player in the offseason. I think Cleveland really needs to take a serious look at seeing what they can do to acquire his services. Because I think, like I said, you put PG on this roster outside of Boston, who has a better starting five? I mean, when you really look at it, outside of Boston, who has a better who would have a better starting five um, than the Cavaliers with PG at the three? I'm just saying. I'm just saying, Cleveland, let's keep that in mind. You got some tough decisions this offseason on where you want your franchise to go. The most pressing concern is what's the future of Spider Mitchell. I mean, like I said, I think Spider is a very good number two, but I don't think he's a guy you can depend on to be the number one. When we're talking about making deep playoff runs, I don't think he can. I think Paul George has that capability. I think he has that capability. I think he has the talent to do that. I think he would be a very good piece in Cleveland. As we move on to talk about the rest of the playoff series, man, so much has changed since Tuesday. You got Pacers and Knicks. Game 6 is scheduled to be in Indiana. Jalen Brunson got back to doing what he was doing. LBJ was courtside. It's confirmed he's going home and bringing Bron. Get a girl. That's the rumor. That is the rumor. A lot has been made of him sitting at courtside at that game, and let's talk about it. I mean, if you have an option to get PG, and LeBron is available, I don't think LeBron would be against that idea of going to Cleveland. Cleveland has reportedly shown interest in Bronny. I think that you add LeBron James, the story kind of writes itself. He rides off into the sunset with the team that drafted him. I mean, and you add LeBron to that squad, much like PG. It is a very nice team that they have in Cleveland. I think LeBron will be more apt to come a little bit cheaper than PG as far as the price to get him. If I'm LeBron, I mean, we talked about this when the Lakers season wrapped up. If I'm LeBron and I'm chasing ring number 5 or possibly ring number 6, if I'm chasing my next ring, I have an easier path to getting there in the Eastern Conference than in the West, because the West right now, Denver, we'll talk about them and their series they have with the Timberwolves, but Denver's not going anywhere. Minnesota has shown that they're here. They're not up and coming. They're here. OKC will be in the mix for years to come. Dallas will be in the mix for years to come. I mean, it's teams that we're not even talking about right now as the playoffs keep going. Sacramento is a team that could still be there. Memphis, with the healthy Ja and those guys coming back, is a team to be there. East may be the way to go, LeBron. East may be the way to go. But back to the Lakers, the Knicks and the Pacers series. I'm getting the feeling that Indiana's going to take care of business at home. I think Indiana kind of takes care of business at home. I didn't like the defensive assignments that they had on Jalen Brunson. You allow Jalen Brunson to kind of get going and allow him to create offense for other guys. I think you go back to what was working in games 3 and 4 as far as putting Neesmith on him primarily, because anybody else you're putting on him, they're too small, physically. Jalen Brunson is a very strong player, and for a guard to be as strong as he is in the post with the moves that he has in the post, it has created problems for the Pacers through the series when they allowed him to get to his spots and operate like he wants to operate. I think you got to go back to what worked in games 3 and 4. Run 2 guys at him, get the ball out of his hands, force somebody else on the Knicks team to create offense for everybody, and be more of a scorer. I don't think the Knicks are out of the woods yet. Even though they won Game 5 at home, I don't think they're out of the woods yet. I think the Pacers come out and take care of business in Game 6, and we will have a Game 7. We'll have a Game 7, and I think Game 7, just like any other time, it's up for grabs. It is up for grabs. The Pacers have shown, even with the losses that they had, especially in games 1 and 2 of this series, that hey, they can compete. And they feel like if they play clean basketball, especially in the second half, especially in the fourth quarter, they can beat this Knicks team. They can beat this Knicks team. This series gives me the vibe. What's going on, Speed? Timberwolves going home tonight. Hey, it's possible. It's possible. I wasn't expecting. I ain't gonna lie to you. I was a little disappointed in Ant-Man. In games 3 or 4, I thought he would come out, be real ultra aggressive, understanding that you were playing the defending champs. This team was not going to lay down and get swept. He hasn't looked good since games 1 and 2. I ain't gonna lie to you. He hasn't looked good since game 1 and 2. Encouraged by Cat's performance in game 5, but Rudy Gobert, rough. Now, do I think Joker's going to come out and have the same game he had in game 5? I don't think so. As far as the scoring is concerned, I don't think he comes out with the mindset of putting up 40, but Gobert, you got worked for the defensive player of the year, 4-time defensive player of the year. You got worked. You got worked, and you got worked bad. I think, you might want to, see, I think if I'm the Timberwolves, I might put Cat on Yoke, because he has a little bit more ability, can kind of stay out there on the perimeter with him when Yoke decides to stay out there. I think you give Cat a shot on the defensive end, because Gobert, you struggle. You struggle. Gator Girl said, I think Indy's going to finish the job at games that gave me. I think it's going 7. And I wouldn't bet against the Pacers in game 7 in New York, because, like I said, games 1 and 2, they had an opportunity to win. Just played sloppy coming down the stretch. New York made championship plays, and that's how we got the series there with this. Because if Pacers didn't play sloppy, I think this series could have been over already. I'm curious to see what kind of mindset Ant-Man comes out with in game 6. Do or die, go home. Jamal Murray is kind of just sitting there laying in the cut. He had a pretty good game in game 5. But that was mostly the Yoke show. And I think if Gobert and Minnesota doesn't make the adjustments on the defensive end as far as Yoke and trying to limit his, look, you're not going to stop him. Yoke is a walking triple-double, and that's saying something for a center. He creates matchup problems for anybody that's guarding him. I think the only guy that kind of gives him problems on both sides of the court is Embiid. And Gobert is nowhere near as skilled offensively as Embiid. So Yoke is able to kind of conserve his energy on the other side of the court, because they're not running any offense for Gobert. Let's keep it a buck. They're not running offense for Gobert. I think if I'm Minnesota, I'm putting Cat more on putting Cat more on him. That's what I'm doing if I'm Minnesota. I mean, but I have to have Anthony Edwards has got to start strong. I don't think this is a game he can come in and try to feel himself out. I think he has to come in and be aggressive. I think he needs to be more in the attack mode, not selling for the 3, not selling for the long jumpers. I think he needs to have that kind of mindset coming into this game 6, or else you guys are going home. You guys are going home. And it's no shame to losing to the Denver Nuggets. They are the defending champions for a reason. The most complete team that's still left in the playoffs, and that includes Speakeasy's Boston Celtics. This is still the most complete team in the playoffs still left. So I'm curious to see, like I said, I'm waiting for that game. OKC and Dallas, another series. It's kind of hard to kind of get a real read on it, especially from the OKC side. SGA is doing him, but it seems like none of the other guys are really ready to step up in this playoff series and take charge of that. Dallas is had the others kind of step up. And if I'm for my OKC fan, I got to be concerned because Kyrie has yet to have one of them games. And Kyrie, especially playoff Kyrie, is due for one of those games where he kind of gets it going. How you doing, Miss VS? It's always, this satellite friendly here. But I think Kyrie is due for one of them type games, and it could be game 6. Could be game 6 with a chance to close out OKC. I think OKC gets it done. But I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm not entirely confident on that being the case going forward. As far as OKC, this I don't know, lost the mojo, man. This doesn't look like the team that ended up with the number 1 seed throughout the regular season. This, outside of SGA, the other guys seem like they're kind of lost in the sauce, some kind of a funk. The 3-point shot's not really falling for them. They're struggling to create offense, and it's not like Dallas is that great of a defensive team. It's just, I think that playoff experience that the Mavericks have, on the sidelines and on the court of being in those pressure moments is really coming to show in these games. Dallas at home with a chance to close it out. You probably would have put your money on them. I think OKC does enough in game 6 and take it. And we're looking at a 7-game in OKC, but I'm not entirely sure that this OKC just, I don't know, if you've been watching the games, they just they don't look like the same team. They don't even look like the same team that was, kind of breezed through the first round. It just does not look like the same team. Like, I don't know if it's a lack of focus. Like I said, SGA is doing him. And I think Dallas is kind of taking the approach, let him do him, let him get going and make everybody else work for it. And I think OKC, much like we talked about Cleveland, hey, you might want to go get a guy that can, get his own shot. I think you need to go get a guy that can get his own shot and doesn't depend on SGA to set the table for him. So, but it's the playoffs, man. The second round has been really fun. The NBA playoffs as a whole has been really fun. Because you have your favorites. You have your favorites. You have Denver. You have Boston. You have your favorites. But for the most part, it's been, if you're just a fan of the game, it has been exciting to watch. Gator Girl says, OKC low-key overachieves. Are kind of like the Kings did last year. Can they sustain and build on it? That is the question going forward. I think whether or not OKC makes it out of this series or not, I think they really have to take a serious look at the roster. I know you got a lot of young guys, but I think you could be served by going to get a veteran guy that can get his own shot, that can give you a consistent 15 points a game. Because it's the offense just looks like it outside of SGA, guys look lost. The shots not falling. I thought Oklahoma City would have been better served by attacking the rim a whole lot more, because it's not like Dallas has shot blockers, and they're making Dallas look very good with the defensive schemes that they're running, make them look like a much better defensive team than they are. But if I'm OKC, I'm worried game 6, because I think Luka's going to do Luka things. PJ Washington kind of tapered off in game 5, but I'm looking at Kyrie. Kyrie is due for one of them games where he goes out and gets 30 to make it look easy. He is due for one of them games, and I think game 6 might be that game. But I'm hoping for a 7-game 6. I want to see more basketball. Speak says Rudy needs to be coming off the bench, and they have him in the fourth quarter. I mean, you kind of got to stick with the rotation that got you here. I think if I'm the head coach for the Timberwolves, I'm got a shorter leash on Gobert. If he's not doing a better job in defensively on Yoke, if he's still having those same struggles that he had in game 5, I might have to pull him because I don't have time to be concerned about your ego and how you feel about being yanked and your minutes being cut, because this is a bad matchup for Gobert. Yoke is not your average center that wants to sit down on the block, sit down in the paint. He'll take you out. He can dribble drive on you, initiate the offense, and that puts a lot of pressure on any center in the NBA. And unless Embiid is in a Timberwolves jersey for game 6, it's going to be a struggle. So I'm curious to see what kind of mindset Yoke comes out with. If he comes out with that same mindset of Game 5, I pull Gobert, put Cat on him, run a little bit smaller, and deal with it like that. Give Gobert spot minutes for the remainder of the series. But much like Gator Girl said, OKC overachieving. I think Minnesota, I think they're there. They're going to be in the mix for years to come, but maybe they're a season too early. Maybe they are a season too early. You could tell they do miss Mike Conley being out there on the court. He is reported to be back for Game 6, but Mike, sets up the offense well, steadies the team, and is a very good defensive player, in his own right. Gator Girl said, "Who's got the most pressure of the old guard superstars?" Well, let's break it down one by one. Gator Girl, I think LeBron's legacy is what it is. I don't think it. If you don't have LeBron at the top of your list, I don't think him winning another championship changes that. KD, I think KD is in the stage of his career. I don't think KD cares about legacy anymore. I think after he got his rings with Golden State, I think he was like, good, I'm satisfied. I'm a champion. I just want to play ball. I don't think pressure can be attributed to anything left with KD's career. I think KD is going to finish his career as is. I don't, you failed with the super team build in Brooklyn. The experiment out here in Phoenix has not been good. It has ended horribly, especially when you came to Phoenix, people were looking at Phoenix as being a favorite in the West, and it has just not panned out. But I don't think KD is overly concerned about it. I think Steph's legacy is solidified. I think people have come to it as far as Kawhi. I think people have come to accept it. He'll be injured when you need him most. I mean, that's and I hate to say that about the back end of his career, but that's what it's kind of been with Kawhi. It's always been, what if he was healthy? What if if he wasn't hurt? Would the Clippers have made deeper playoffs if he wasn't? I mean, I can't depend on that. I think his legacy is going to be Russ. I don't think anybody looks at Russ's legacy either going up or down. It kind of is what it is. You either like Russ or you don't. Harden, maybe. I think Harden's probably got the most pressure. Because he keeps seeking, I think, more so than the other guys on the list, he keeps seeking out opportunities to not necessarily be the head dog on the team. I think he's trying to find the best situation for him. The Clippers, it worked during the regular season, but can you depend on James Harden when it matters most? And time after time after time after time, playoffs after playoffs after playoffs, you've seen he hasn't. He hasn't been able to step up. I think at the end of the day, out of the people that you name, I think the most pressure. I don't think it's no pressure on Steph. I think people look. Steph is his spot is solidified. I don't think you're going to look at you're not going to take anything away from Steph's career if he doesn't win another championship. I don't think people looked at Steph's career is being built on he needs rings to be in certain conversations. I think LeBron has had that pressure throughout his career. I think KD for a stretch after he left Oklahoma City had that pressure on him. I think Steph is, I don't think anybody saw Steph coming into the league and saying he needs to win X amount of rings to be, in that conversation for best point guard of all time. I disagree with you on that one. I think most pressure. Going into next season, most pressure I would probably put on Harden. I don't think it's no pressure on Russ. People understand that Kawhi is going to be hurt. Steph is good. KD is, he just want a ball. He's not there to lead no team, to galvanize no troops. He's just there to play ball. And I think LeBron, if he's about chasing the ring, I don't. It doesn't change, how people feel about him. Either you have him as one or you don't. At this point, I don't think another ring really changes the conversation for the Michael Jordan fans out there. I don't think that changes the conversation at all. Now, if he was to go and get 6, then we're having a different conversation. But I don't think, that pressure. I'm a Lakers fan. Look, I'm a Lakers fan. I love my team, but I never looked at my team as, this team is, this is a championship squad they got here. And I thought if certain things kind of broke their way, maybe they can make a run, but nah. I think I'd say for me harder. Yeah, I'm with you, Speak. If Steph if Steph doesn't make the playoffs, I mean, he's 35. He never makes the playoffs for the rest of his career. Um, it doesn't change the fact he's the greatest shooter of all time, greatest 3-point shooter of all time. He's got his rings, so he's going to be in the conversation for best point guard of all time. Like it or not, he's going to be in the conversation. His spot is solidified. I mean, Steph could walk away from the game today, and he's first ballot. Easy. I think all the guys you named, all of them are first ballot. But I think LeBron's easy and unanimous. KD's unanimous. Steph's unanimous. It'll be a slight argument over Kawhi. It'll be an argument over Russ, but I think people will be. I think Harden's got the most to prove. Most pressure still on him because he hasn't. When push comes to shove, he comes up small change. You say what you want to say about Russ. Russ is. I think Russ is maximized his talent to the umpteenth degree, and I think with Harden, it's like you come up small when they need you most. I'm just saying. But anyway, let me get my behind up out of here because it will be a show tomorrow. It will be a Freestyle Friday show tomorrow. Make sure y'all tune in for that. It'll probably be about 7:30, 8 o'clock. And of course, I got a show planned for the other space because, brother man, you got some questions. Y'all know how I get down with the questions. If I got questions, let me set something up. And I like to take a different approach to stuff. But yeah, make sure you tune in, especially for tomorrow's show, because it will be a mix of the DEI stuff that we kind of talked about, and it will be, sports related, of course. But make sure y'all tune in for that show. If all hearts and minds are clear, go ahead. Wish you well. Enjoy the rest of your evening. See you tomorrow. Like, share, subscribe, all the good stuff. Enjoy the games. Enjoy this. Just enjoy yourself. In the summertime, man. Take some time off. End you off with the phrase that pays over here. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, but every time you learn. And I'm out.